Hey, welcome. In the next few minutes, we're going to build your mental map of business economics. We're going to connect the dots between something as simple as the price of a coffee and something as huge as a global product launch and show you the invisible economic forces behind every single business decision.
So, how does one tiny decision end up rippling through the entire global economy? I know, it sounds huge, right? But here's how we're going to tackle it. We're going to start super small at the micro level, and then we'll just keep zooming out.
First things first, why should anyone in business even care about economic theory? Well, because the business world is never, ever static. It's this constantly shifting landscape of booms, slowdowns, and nonstop change. Understanding these forces isn't just some academic exercise. It's literally about survival and making much, much smarter decisions. So, here's the crucial point. Business economics takes all that abstract stuff, the graphs and theories, and it turns it into a real practical toolkit. It helps you answer the most fundamental questions every single company faces. What should we make? How much of it? Who are we selling it to? And what's the right price? It's all about solving real-world problems. All right, let's start at the very bottom with the smallest building blocks of any economy. We're talking about the individual choices made by you, by me, and by every single company out there. This is the micro level. This is where it all begins. So it all kicks off with demand. But here's the key thing to remember. It's not just about wanting something. I mean, I might desire a brand new sports car, but that alone doesn't create any economic demand. Demand is that powerful three-part combo. You have to desire it, you have to have the actual money to buy it, and you have to be willing to part with that money. And of course, for every buyer, you've got to have a seller. That's where supply comes in, the other side of the coin. It's the amount of a product that companies decide to make and sell, and that decision is massively influenced by things like how much it costs to produce and what kind of tech they're working with. And this gets right to the heart of the challenge for any business. Production is basically the magic trick of turning inputs, like people's time and raw materials, into the stuff you actually sell, the outputs. But that magic costs money. Companies have to juggle two kinds of costs. Fixed costs, like the rent for their office that they have to pay no matter what, and variable costs, like materials, which go up the more stuff they make. Okay, so supply and demand. They don't happen in a vacuum, right? They clash in the marketplace. This is where companies go head-to-head, and trust me, the type of competition they're in completely changes the game. Now, what's so fascinating here is how this shows you the two wild extremes of the competitive world. On one end, you have perfect competition. Think about it. Tons of companies, all selling the exact same thing, where no one company has any power to set the price. They just have to take the market price. And then on the complete opposite end, you have a monopoly. One single seller who is the market. They are the price maker. And guess what? Most businesses live somewhere in the messy middle. Okay, let's pull the camera way, way back now. We've been looking at the small stuff, individual people, single companies. Now, let's talk about the massive sweeping forces that hit all businesses at once. We're talking about the overall health and direction of the entire economy. This is the macro view. So the first big macro force is inflation, and all that really means is that your money just doesn't go as far as it used to. A dollar tomorrow buys less than a dollar today. And for a business, believe me, this is way more than just a number on a screen. It changes everything from what they pay for supplies to what they can charge customers. It makes planning for the future a real headache. And economies aren't a flat line. They kind of breathe. They move in these waves, these cycles. You start at the bottom, in a depression, then things start to pick up in recovery. You hit full employment, maybe even a huge boom, but then things turn and you head into a recession. A really smart manager always knows what phase of the cycle we're in so they can plan for what's coming next. Now, governments don't just sit back and watch this roller coaster, right? They try to steer the ship. They have a couple of powerful tools. First, there's monetary policy, which is all about interest rates and the money supply, usually handled by a central bank. Then you've got fiscal policy, which is the government itself using spending and taxes to influence things. The whole point of both is to try and smooth out those wild economic swings. Okay, so this brings us right back to where we started. How does one little decision to buy something, to hire someone, to make an investment, how does that actually connect to that huge global economic machine? Well, the answer is, it's all about a massive chain reaction. And this is it. This is how it works. Just think about it. A company decides to invest in something new. They pay workers. Those workers now have more income, so they go out and spend it. That spending becomes income for other people. That's the multiplier. One little investment creating waves of new income. But it doesn't stop there. All that new spending sends a signal to other businesses that, hey, people are buying stuff, so they decide to invest even more to keep up. That's the accelerator. It's how one small spark can set off this incredible, powerful cycle across the whole economy.
So there you have it. We've gone all the way from a single decision to buy something, right up to national economic policy. And now we can see how it's all connected. We've laid out the entire map. So the real question isn't for me to answer. It's for you. Now that you have this map, which one of these forces is going to be top of mind when you make your next big move?